how can I help you or not help you today?
I guess I have a kind of practical question
Yeah.
because you were just mentioning about doership and how we're not really doing anything. And this, I don't know, like I've heard that you say that before, and it's something that I've really been thinking about for like the last, I don't know how many weeks. And I was just thinking, like, although intellectually I can understand what you're saying and the concept of what you're saying, I feel like I need to kind of like somehow take that in a deeper way. But I don't really know how. I don't really like. I feel like I need some kind of practical application, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to do that for you either. Like I don't know how that happens. Like that we absorb ideas. I mean, some people might say it's like repetition, like into the brain. Like if you repeat things again and again, but I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how you make that go in deeper. But maybe I'm being too what is that word? Not logical, but too, I'm taking your question very sincerely. Maybe if I like
literally.
Yeah, literally, that's the word. Maybe if I like look at it from a different angle. So if now you close your eyes, where are your thoughts arising from?
From consciousness.
Is that what it feels like? Is that your experience?
I guess it feels more like it's coming from the me.
And where is your me?
That I guess it feels like it's in my head somewhere. Like if I was to, but I can't find it.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. It's in your head. Like, so that's what we've been taught for many years, is that there is a person inside our head, whereas we actually don't know where thoughts come from. And I think that scientists are even baffled by this, but I'm not positive when I say that. But I think they're also baffled as to where thoughts originate from. There's been incidences where people have had organ transplants and then they've had thoughts of that person that previously had the organ. So they've had thoughts and memories. Yeah, so we don't actually know where thoughts are arising, but we've been told they arise in the head. And our imagination is so powerful. I remember this one time, which is so inappropriate to say on a live stream, but hopefully no one no one who could get me in trouble will be listening. One time I was stoned. I was with a friend, and they really gave me too much weed. It was like through this like special pipe thing, and I can't handle any types of drugs. I'm like what you'd say is a real lightweight. And I remember like laying there, and I suddenly just like went into hysterics because I was like, even gravity is mind-made. Like the idea that maybe this is only, you can only think about this when you're stoned actually, but the idea that gravity is something where we're standing upright and the feeling of gravity is mind-made. Like gravity, I know that gravity is a thing like scientifically in this world, but it's also mind-made. Like we have this idea and this expectation that we should be upright and that this is gravity, and we have a feeling of it, but it's also mind-made. It's
I know what you're saying, because I mean I do feel like because I mean I have had a kind of awakening where obviously I realized like I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my body.
Yeah.
And I there's like a sense now that that life is kind of like a dream in a way. Like when I look into like the external reality, it's like there's a kind of unreality to it, even though I know there is a kind of reality to it as well. So I guess it's a bit like, I don't know if that really had anything to do with what you were saying, but it's like I guess what I'm saying is like we can feel something that is so real when it's, you can find out later that it's not so real.
Totally.
It's a bit like when you wake up from a dream.
And gravity to another life form will be completely different. So the idea that you've been told that thoughts arise in your head has actually, I would suspect, made you feel like thoughts are arising in your head. Like it's an imagination that has kept that entrapped. So therefore, like it feels like there is somebody inside this brain that is creating thoughts. Like you feel you're responsible for your thoughts and your urges and your actions, whereas this isn't true. It's an idea which has energetically kind of made it feel like it's happening in your body. So in every moment you think you're thinking, it's not like you're thinking that, it's like a feeling. It's like you feel there is a you in there in which you're thinking and you're doing, but this isn't the reality. Your actual experience, when you come back to it and when you really can question everything, is you don't know where thoughts are coming from. They could be coming from the outside, like outside the body. We don't know where thoughts are arising, and we don't know how we're hearing thoughts. Like it's not like they're a sound.
Also, I was just thinking this today actually that I've had some experiences as well where I've had thoughts, but I also have become aware that like they're not my thoughts, they're somebody else's thoughts. Like, and I've picked up somebody else's kind of like radio frequency.
Totally.
And it's like suddenly you've got a thought in your mind, but it's hard sometimes to know like which like where they're coming from, because it's like, well, how do you know which is like technically your thought, if thoughts are yours, and then technically somebody else's thought?
That is complicated. And then we got the collective thinking. Like I don't know if you noticed this, but if there's something that is in fashion, like a color or something, you'll begin to think it. It's really amazing. Like I don't know, like it's same with popularity of something. So if something becomes really popular, we begin to collectively pick up on that. You know, it's not a it's just the way we are. We are telepathic beings, but we just don't communicate that, and we don't have that in our language, so we don't appreciate that in any way. But
I can see why that would make sense. Sorry.
But it's the same with you thinking. Like there is such an assumption that is other people's thoughts and these are your thoughts. But if you look at it all through the time span, like other people's thoughts and your thoughts are a really impersonal occurrence, because you're thinking your thoughts because of all the humans that have thought their thoughts prior to you. So where is the first entity that has its own thoughts? Like you can only think the way you think now because previous humans invented that. Like it's like a domino effect. But because we only have this slice of time, this apparent slice of time as humans, we then feel like, oh, that's me and they're my thoughts, and it's so personal. But the only reason that you know day is because humans have already named that and made that up and made it a meaning of something. And it's become...
we've labelled everything.
We've labelled, and we've given ways in which we think and in which we speak, in which we communicate things. Like in the sayings that we say, the way we compare things to things, the idioisms, can't say the word. Like and then you think, okay, these are my thoughts, but it's, in a way, it's like completely arrogant that we would claim that anything is our thoughts. Because where did your thoughts begin? And I can assure everybody that's listening, those thoughts have been thought billions of times before. Like it's totally not personal. And then if you come back to the moment, so we look at the timeline, You come back to the moment right now, you don't know where those thoughts are arising from. You can't find this you in which they belong to. They're appearing out of no place, just like everything else. Just like the wall is in the computer, it's appearing from this instantaneous no place.
Yeah, that has kind of helped kind of to see that a little bit clearlier. Clearly, or clearlier. I don't think clearly is a word.
Yeah, I'm infecting you with my mispronunciation of words.
I actually have a similar thing. Like some words, I think I said mural the other day instead of mural, and I still can't say it right. So
yeah.
But I've also had some experiences like I've had an out of body experience where I left my body and I felt as if I was everything.
Yeah.
And there was this really intense sense of love, which is kind of like completely and utterly undescribable.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Because it's nothing I've really ever experienced other than when I was outside of my body, if you know what I mean. And this happened when I was really young, so I was like 8, and then I went back inside my body, and I kind of like looked at my hands and knew that I was not the body and I was not my thoughts, or I wasn't this person. Like I wasn't Katie, and I wasn't like the child of my parents. And as all of this was kind of unfolding, it was totally terrifying to my like 8-year-old self. Like when I was in the experience, it was amazing and beautiful, and I was just in the experience. But then, if you can call it an experience, but then when I was back inside my body, it was like totally like confusing and terrifying. Then obviously like cut to like lots of years later, I suddenly could kind of understand some of what that was about. But I just wondered if this feeling of being connected to everything, like where does that, like I know you talk about like the consciousness and the I am, but I just wondered if you had any thoughts on like that feeling of being like connected to everything, like
that's when you see, that's when
where
you
is that, like, where is that coming from?
That's when it's really, really recognized. So I can hear that you've had awakening experiences and that you're really tasting this, but it's when it's really recognized that who you are is everything. Like, so when it's really energetically known that who you are is everything in this moment, like all things, and that's where the connection is. Like, and that's where the freedom is really recognizing that who is hearing me now is all things, not a person. So it's all things speaking, all things hearing. You could also say no thing as well. And that's what's actually hearing now. That's what's communicating now. The bodies are like instruments. The bodies are like microphones and cameras. They're not actually perceiving this.
It's so amazing. It's so beautiful, and it's so simple. It's like it's so simple, and yet it seemingly seems so far away. If you know what I mean?
Because the brain is so used to, and it's not just in this life, but in all previous lives, the brain is so used to. I don't know if this is right English. Cognifying everything, like putting it into thought patterns. So the brain is used to understanding everything in time, And that's why you got terrified as an 8-year-old, because it didn't fit in with your cognitive awareness. So the brain was like overfiring, like what the hell just happened? Because it needs, the person or the brain needs these like simple A to B equals C, like A plus B equals C. Otherwise it doesn't know what to do, and then it like hits into that terror of death on the human level. So then the body goes into like a panic, I'm going to die. Like it's sort of like this, when you have these spiritual experiences, it merges in with the survival level of the person.
Yeah. I guess also the mind can kind of come up with, it wants to come up with some kind of timeline, like when do I become free, or when, like, is there a time limit? Is there a kind of a way to do it? You know, like you learn to ride a bike, but of course I'm just thinking, well, there can't really be a way to do it, because if there was a way to do it,
everyone would be doing it.
Everyone would be doing it.
Yeah. But also, so that question's asked, and it's like it's in the freedom. It's the freedom asking that. It's crazy that the freedom asks, "Is there any way I can get to myself?" But it's
that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And then the freedom replies to itself, I'm not there yet. I've got to do something to get there, otherwise I won't be there. But it's the freedom speaking it. It's the freedom saying it. The freedom is in all things. And because it's got the possibility to create anything, it does create everything and anything, including these ideas of losing itself. It's infinite possibilities. Like when you have these awakening experiences, you can often feel that like childlike wonder, that infinite possibilities. That's what your nature is anything is possible. It can create anything.
Like, everything feels like completely miraculous. Like just so like just to be alive is miraculous. Just to be here.
Yeah. It's full of wonder.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering my question.
Oh yeah, thanks Katie for calling in. I always really enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.